Okay, what's happening everyone? And today is 17th of July 2021 and this is episode number 8, I do believe, of the Talk With Maksim Show. I was actually supposed to record this a few days ago. I think I was meant to do this on Wednesday. Today is Saturday, but I just didn't get the time to do it on Wednesday, and then as the days roll on, I got a little bit lazy and I said, just fuck it, I'll leave it till another day. So today is Saturday. I came home now after training there a few hours ago, had my lunch, just relax a bit, watched a quick podcast. I think I was watching Brendan Schaub's podcast with Brian Callen, Fighter and the Kid, and now I just said, okay, it's time to sit down and actually record this episode, because if I didn't do it today, I won't have it out until next week, and next week is super busy for me. So this week we had two podcasts out, or talk shows, whatever you want to call it. So obviously episode 7 was out earlier in the week. Now this is episode number 8, and next week I'm going to release probably one. It will probably happen on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, because obviously I'm fighting next week Saturday, so I'm 7 days away, and I'm going to be traveling to England, down to Birmingham, so that'll be on Thursday morning. So I won't be in Ireland, so I won't have my setup with me, so or anything like that. So you're only gonna get one podcast next week, and then obviously I might smash out 2 or 3 the week after, the following week. So yeah, right, so a lot to talk about today, and obviously, as I said, I was meant to do this on Wednesday, so I'm a bit late, so there's more news that came out, but I'm just gonna talk about what I already had planned. So we're just gonna kick off the usual. We always kick off with some fight news, and we're gonna do the same right now, so let me check. So obviously the biggest fight, could be potentially the biggest fight this year, the most this fight has the potential to sell most pay-per-views if it is promoted really well, and the fight is that just got announced there, I think last few days ago. So obviously it would be last week, because if it was Wednesday, as I said, I'd record on a different date. Today is Sunday, so Saturday. So we're going to say last week, okay? So it got announced. So we have Robbie Lawler fighting Nick Diaz, number 2, and it is scheduled to be a non-title fight, 5-round non-title fight on UFC 266 on September 25th. So as I said, this fight has the potential to be the biggest pay-per-view event this year, because obviously Nick Diaz, it has been out for a bit, 6 years or so, and there's still people for those 6 years that he's been out, or 8 or whatever. I think it's something like, it could be 8. I checked this morning, but I don't remember. So we'll say he's been out for 8 years. Or something like that, whatever. His last fight, I do believe, was against George St. Pierre in 2013, exactly. So what's that, 8 years? So that was his last fight 8 years ago. And him and Robbie Lawler previously fought as well. So that, I think they fought in around 2004, I do believe that was the day they fought, which is obviously 10 plus years. This is a rematch. I think this is the perfect match for Robbie Lawler and for Nick Diaz to come back to, because they could have gave Nick Diaz a killer. Like Hamza Chimaev was on the list, which would have been a really bad fight for him, because obviously Hamza Chimaev is a superstar that's up and coming. They couldn't really give him Hamza, because look, let's really think, Hamza would have smashed Diaz up, to be honest with you, because Hamza's grappling is super good, his striking is very good. He would have had the youth advantage, and Diaz obviously hasn't fought, as I said, in 8 years. So, but this fight, if it's promoted perfectly, it could be the biggest pay-per-view event this year, because everyone loves the Diaz brothers. Especially, imagine they have Nick Diaz on the card, and then they have Nate. Obviously, Nate just lost to Leon Edwards in his last fight, I do believe. A close enough fight. No, I won't say close enough, that was wrong, but it was a good enough fight. Obviously, it got close to Leon obviously got close to getting finished by Nate at the very end, but he didn't. But Leon dominated. But imagine you having the 2 Diaz brothers on the same card. That would probably be the biggest pay-per-view card of the year. But I doubt it'll happen, because I think Nate is just gonna sit out, probably wait for a McGregor trilogy or something like that. And obviously McGregor just broke his leg in his last fight. He's probably seen that, was we talked about in the last episode. So McGregor's gonna be out for at least a year. Then he's gonna have to do a fight camp. So it's going to be interesting to see, does Nate sit out and wait for McGregor, or does he want to jump fight someone like in the top 5 on the same card as his brother in September? It's going to be pretty interesting to see. Okay, what else have we got? this was actually pretty interesting, I thought. So obviously Sean O'Malley just fought on the weekend. He beat Chris in a very tough fight. Chris wasn't an easy opponent to beat. Obviously, everyone thought he was gonna smash Chris, but Chris actually did super well. And then we had a tweet from Ali Abdelaziz. So Ali Abdelaziz tweet, he goes, "How's that sound?" He goes, "Frankie Edgar versus Sean O'Malley in MSG." Now, and I do know that Ali did an interview before, and he did say, if Sean O'Malley wants to break into the top 5, he should fight Frankie Edgar, which is a really good fight for Sean. I think he'll beat Frankie. But look, Frankie's on the way out. He's retired. I'm not sure if he's retired or what the crack is, but Frankie would be a super interesting fight. And I do believe that Sean could win that, and that fight will break Sean O'Malley into the top 5, because Frankie Edgar is currently ranked number 5 or 6. The bantamweight division is super stacked at the moment, so I'm not sure where Frankie Edgar is ranked. But Ali said that would be a perfect fight. I do believe that's a perfect fight as well, and I think, you know what, it's pretty interesting. I think that Sean O'Malley doesn't have a manager currently, and Ali Abdelaziz did an interview with, I think, ESPN or something, like last week after the Sean O'Malley fight, and he said, "Look, I like Sean O'Malley. I think he's a good kid and stuff like that." And then he started talking about Frankie Edgar. I think that Ali Abdelaziz is going to be trying to get Sean O'Malley under his wing, because look, Ali is a super motor. He gets his fighters the money that they want. He does some incredible deals with the UFC. Obviously, look, he has the biggest superstar right now in the sport, retired Khabib Nurmagomedov, is underneath is obviously we'll say managed by Ali. Then he actually tried to get John Jones there recently or something. Like, he is the biggest and the best manager, I think, in the game at the moment. And then there's obviously other teams out there that are super good as well, but I think Ali just edges out because he has so many fighters and just the level of fighters that he currently has underneath his management company. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, that Sean O'Malley versus Frankie Edgar. I think that'd be a pretty cool fight. Do I think that Sean's gonna take that fight? I'm not sure, because I do believe he called out Rob Font and Cody Garbrandt. I don't think he fights Cody Garbrandt because it's such a bad fight for Cody. I do believe that Cody is trying to go down to 125, because he does have a fight actually scheduled at 125 against Kai Kara-France. That'd be an interesting fight. I think he beats Kai. Look, I like Kai Kara-France as well, but I think Cody's gonna be just a little bit bigger than Kai and just more experienced, so I do believe he beats Kai Kara-France. And then I think that Cody will probably fight for the title against who's the champion right now, the Mexican guy that just beat Figueiredo. Anyways, you know who I'm talking about, or if you don't, just look up the 125 champion in the UFC, and you know he's a Mexican guy. I can't remember his name. I should know his name because he's actually kind of turned into a superstar at the moment. Yeah, but I thought it was interesting. Sean O'Malley versus Frankie Edgar. It's a cool fight to have. Do I want to see it, or would I prefer Sean O'Malley fight the likes of Rob Font? Obviously, I'd like to see him fight Rob Font or something like that, because I think that if Sean O'Malley, he could be at one fight away from the title fight. So if he fights someone like Rob Font, who's actually in line for a title shot next, I do believe, if he can fight Rob Font next, does he skip the queue then fight for the title? Maybe so. I don't know if Sean's gonna fight Frankie, but you never know. I think he could, or he might even fight a top 5 opponent next, which I do believe he wants, but he could just fight someone number 10 or something like that. He's still gonna get paid the same. His contract is still the same. Right. So what other news do we have regarding to the UFC? Okay, so UFC 266, which is obviously September 25th, which we do have, obviously, I just actually realized now that Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler is on the same card. I didn't even know that just until looking now. So we have Brian Ortega versus Volkanovski scheduled for a title fight, obviously, and then we have Shevchenko versus Murphy. They're both obviously women's at 125. Shevchenko's obviously Valentina's the champion. Murphy is, I think she's number 3. She only fought there about 2 weeks ago, maybe. She had a very good performance, so that just got added. So it's gonna be a double header title fight, obviously, and then we do obviously have as well Nick Diaz, as we talked earlier, against Robbie Lawler. So now we're gonna have another card that's gonna have five rounders. So obviously we had there a few weeks ago we had a card that had 3 5 rounders, which was AZ I think was fighting on it. That fight card, I do believe that had three 5 round fights. Obviously Diaz and stuff like that. But right, so what else? I think that's everything with the UFC, and that's obviously September 25th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So we'll go a bit away from the UFC fight news, and we're gonna talk about some NBA. So obviously Milwaukee Bucks are currently playing in the finals against the Suns. So as I said, episode was meant to be recorded on Wednesday, so they haven't played since Wednesday. But obviously we have 4 games in, and Milwaukee Bucks end up getting their second win in the 4th game. So they beat Phoenix Suns in the last game 109-103, and I looked at the highlights. I didn't watch the game. I didn't stay up for it because it's on too late for me, and I have a fight coming up, so I don't want to be staying up all night watching the NBA when I can just watch the highlights the next day. But what we did have was the Phoenix Suns looked so good, and I was saying going into the last quarter, watching the highlights, I was thinking to myself, that's it. Milwaukee Bucks are definitely losing this game. Suns are going to take game 4. Okay. But then we go into the last quarter, and before I mentioned last quarter, Devin Booker dropped 42 points in the game 4, which I thought was absolutely amazing. He scored so many points, and I think that's his highest so far in the playoffs, and obviously that's in the finals against a good fucking team that's in the finals as well. But so we went into the 4th quarter. I think the Suns were, if I do remember correctly, the Suns were leading, and I was thinking to myself, that's it. The Suns have game 4. But then we had the Suns, something happened, and the Suns went on the attack, and was it Booker that had the ball? I think Booker was going for a layup or something like that, and then we had Giannis, who pulled off an amazing block. And if you watch the highlights, that's what changed the game in the last few minutes of the game, was the block by Giannis, and then they scored. Then obviously they scored a Booker. They scored 2 points or 3 points off that block, and then I think that Milwaukee kind of just picked up the pace for the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the game, and they just smashed it out, and they actually end up winning 109-103, as I said. In the game 4, but I honestly thought that the Suns had game 4 wrapped up because it looked so good. Devin Booker was dropping mad points, obviously dropped 42 points. Giannis didn't play so well. I can't remember if he played the full game, but I don't think he played. I think he was on the bench at the start, but that was amazing. Right, where else? So that's with NBA. Oh, it's really quick. I just want to say that I started reading, not reading, but I obviously listen to some audiobooks while I walk to train or or in between training sessions. I'm constantly trying to improve, and I'm constantly trying to study the game and not just, when I say the game, not just fighting, but like, so I bring up, I'm currently listening to a book called Winning by Tim Groves. So basically, if you don't know about Tim Groves, if you just look him up, he was a personal trainer for Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan first for years and years, and then he became a personal trainer for Kobe Bryant. Obviously, Michael Jordan, the GOAT of NBA, one of the greatest players of all time. So is Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, one of the greatest NBA players. But Tim Groves has another book out called Relentless, which is actually somewhere up there. I think it's, try point this red book right here. That's called Relentless by Tim Groves. I actually read the full book. Amazing. And he just talks about different mentality of the legends like Michael Jordan and stuff like that. But I definitely recommend the book Winning by Tim Groves if you're into reading books. I'm not mad into reading because I don't really have too much time to sit down and read. I obviously do time. Maybe I should say I'm a bit lazy when it comes to reading, so I just listen to audiobooks because I do believe it's a bit handier. I lose a bit concentration when I'm reading and stuff like that. But I definitely recommend this book, and he has different points in the book. So he thought it's all about winning, and I think some of the points that he makes is to do with sports and life in general as well. Like, he makes some great points, some like you wouldn't even think about. But I just said I mentioned this book, so this is called Winning by Tim Groves. So if you're listening on Audible or whatever you listen to, or if you want to just go to your local shop, they probably won't even have it in your local shop. But if you go to like Amazon or something that you get this book, I definitely recommend just have a quick read of this book. And there's a lot of life lessons and lessons to do with sport as well, and just he breaks down the mentality of the greats like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, and he does mention like Shaquille O'Neal and a few other players and stuff like that, the way their mentality works. And obviously he touches up about the Mamba mentality that Kobe Bryant has and stuff like that. Super interesting book. I just thought I'd bring it up, and obviously in a couple of episodes ago I brought up a different book as well. Alright, anyways, enough of that. So what else I want to mention? Oh, I'm not sure how many of you are into the NFL, but the Los Angeles Rams are currently bringing back an old school jersey. I think, if I'm correct, they had this similar jersey in 1994 to 1996. Them 2 seasons, I think they had similar, and it's the first time they're bringing the white jersey back since then. I'm not gonna lie, whenever I watch the NFL, I'm all supporting the Chiefs. I love Patrick Mahomes. I think he's just one of the best quarterbacks. He's just coming in behind Tom Brady, and I think amazing. I love watching the Chiefs. I think the style of play is very good. But if I'm going to get an NFL, I was about to say an NBA. If I'm going to get an NFL jersey, I think the Rams' new jersey, as you can see it obviously on the screen, I brought it up. I think that is the nicest jersey that I've seen in a long time. I'm not mad about the bits here for the shoulders. They do look a bit, I don't know, not too mad about it. But the jersey, I just love the coloring, the white and the blue and the yellow. It just looks absolutely amazing. And I did say, if I'm going to get an NFL jersey, I think that's the one I'm going to go for. I'm not sure how many of you are into NFL. I was mad into NFL a few years ago, obviously playing Madden and stuff like that, but now I'm kind of getting back into it. The only thing for me is all the NFL games are obviously happening at night time here in Ireland, so they're like 2 in the morning or something like that. But if there's any like Sunday games, they usually have early games on Sunday, so I'm always watching them. But yeah, as I was saying, the Rams have the nicest jersey I think in the NFL at the moment. I love the Chiefs jerseys as well, but I'm mad about jerseys. Like, I have retro soccer jerseys and stuff like that. I'm actually gonna probably hang some up here or something like that. I have a nice Irish retro jersey, and I have a nice Russian retro jersey as well. I might fit in something there because I do want to do up the background just a little bit more. But yeah, as I was saying, I used to love watching the NFL. I'm kind of getting back into it. I'm starting the fantasy team. Obviously, the NFL season starts is it September or late August or early September, I think. That because I do believe that I was listening to that the training camp is actually for the NFL is starting in 2 weeks time. So obviously, then we have the NFL season kicking off. Obviously, then it'll have to be early September or late August, something like that, which is only about 4 or 5 weeks away. So that'd be interesting to see. So what else do I have? I don't really have anything else that I want to talk about. I did see some mad stuff that I wanted to mention, boy. It was it was a video of an elephant. So I'm actually gonna bring it up here. I'm gonna play it right now. I'm gonna play it for you as well. Okay, so as you can see, it just goes to show, I think this is in India or something like that, and it's an elephant just wrecking the town. I think at the start of the video, the elephant just smashed into some sort of a building or something like that. But I wouldn't like to get in the way of an elephant, to be honest. They're absolutely huge, and everyone thinks about elephants not really a predator, obviously. Elephants just eat grass and whatever, and I do believe for an animal to be called a predator, it has to be eating like other animals or stuff like that. And I don't think that elephants eat other animals. Maybe some, I don't know, bugs or something like that. Maybe the odd snake or something like that. But It's just a mad video that just goes to show how big an elephant is in reality to like a person and what they're capable of. This elephant is just smashing into buildings there as he's walking through a street casually in India. But I just thought it was an interesting video to bring up. I've really nothing else to be talking about. This is only a short episode, as I said. I'm a bit late with this episode. This was meant to be out on Wednesday. Today is Saturday. I'm a little bit tired, so I'm gonna finish editing this, probably go for a nap, having my dinner, and obviously, as I said, I'm gonna only have probably one episode out next week because I'll be flying midweek next week to England for my fight, which is obviously, if you, again, I'll mention again, if you want to watch it, either the pay-per-view link is going to be down in the description, or if you have Sky TV, the channel is 437. You can watch it on Sky for free. So I really appreciate all the support of the people there messaging me and stuff like that. And obviously check me out on Instagram as well. I have my fight updates up on Instagram constantly. So yeah, I think that's it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. As I said, this is episode number 8, so we're gonna have episode number 9 out next week, and then the week after that we'll probably have episode number 10, 11 and 12. So I'm gonna make sure that next week, not the week coming, but the one after that, after my fight, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna smash out at least 3 episodes, because there's gonna be a lot of things to talk about. Obviously my win that I'm gonna get Saturday coming. Super confident with myself coming into this fight. Training is going super well. Obviously I'm kind of tapering down now. I finished my camp. I've been in camp for the past 12 weeks getting ready for this fight, and then previous to that I was in camp for another 8 weeks. So I'm in camp for about total of 20 weeks now getting ready for this fight. So I presume I'm in the best shape I've ever been, cardio wise and stuff like that. And mentally wise, I'm just so confident going into the next fight. I cannot wait to perform on Saturday coming. So as I said, if you want to watch this fight, make sure you follow the pay-per-view if you don't have Sky TV. But if you have Sky, it's channel 437. But if you can't get a 4 pay-per-view or you don't have Sky, just follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna have fight updates obviously coming up through this whole week. And obviously after the fight, I'm going to have little clips up on my Instagram as well. So hopefully, I'm going for the finish in this fight. So you're going to see a lot of clips of me finishing this dude on my Instagram. So make sure you go follow me on my Instagram, which is going to be in the description as well. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. And I'm going to see you obviously in the next one. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in the next one.